So today I'm on the River Weaver, but I'm not looking at the railway viaduct just there, which is absolutely beautiful, or the motorway which is back there, which is less than beautiful, and I'm not looking at the old swing bridge, which is just here, which is still in use of course. I'm looking at something else, and it's even better. So the thing I'm looking at is a unique thing. It's the last of its type, last surviving of its type, and it's still in use. It's been restored in recent years. If I can get there inch by inch, it's been restored, and so it's still in use even today, and it looks absolutely beautiful from here, from down on the water, and I'm nearly there, so let's just get there.
Step aboard the Danny, smell the steam and taste the spray. Feel those engines beat beneath your feet, bound for the glory days.
So there we go, big boat. Let's get on board. Hello everyone, so today I'm on the River Weaver in Frodsham in Cheshire, and I'm just at the swing bridge there, and I'm here to look at this. This is the SS Daniel Adamson, a steamboat. And I've very kindly been invited by the guys that run it to have a look and take a look around. So beautiful day, I'm really excited about this. Right, so welcome aboard the SS Daniel Adamson, and this nice gentleman here is Bob, and he's very kindly agreed to show me around today. So nice to meet you, Bob.
And you, Ollie.
So starting off, what is so special about the Danny?
Well, the Daniel Adamson, is the sole surviving Liverpool-built steamship. It was built in 1903, and so that was the year the Wright brothers first flew, 9 years before the Titanic was launched. And so she's an important historic maritime artefact in Britain, and she's still sailing to this day. And she was saved from the scrapyard in 2004, and 15 years of hard work went in to restore it to the way you see it today.
Yeah,
which is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, fantastic. So the last surviving one, and she's still going.
She is. She's coal-fired. Still got the original engines built by John Jones in 1903, and she's sailing the waterways mainly on the River Weaver for the pleasure of the Northwest and the nation as a whole.
Oh, beautiful. And a beautiful day it is as well.
Fantastic. You can't get any better than this, Ollie.
No, you can't. All right, well, I'm looking forward to showing you around.
Okay,
so.
thanks, Ollie. Come on.
Let's do it. So, as Bob says, the Daniel Adamson started off life in 1903. Built for the Shropshire Union Railway and Canal Company, who owned 200 miles of canal and 18.5 miles of railway, and whose fleet of vessels was believed to be the largest in the country. It's one of 3 surviving vessels built for them, another one of which is the Mersey Flat Mossdale, which I saw in a previous video. Built at what is the Camel Laird shipyard in Birkenhead, and launched just a month before the famous shipbuilding name was formally established with a merger, the Danny was originally named the Ralph Brocklebank, after the chairman of the Shropshire Union Canal Company and the former chairman of the Mersey Docks and Harbour Board. Back then, transporting goods by water was still a big business, and the new tug was quickly put to work towing long strings of barges carrying cargo from the potteries in Cheshire onto the Mersey and into the big port city. Now, this was a unique period in maritime history, when places like the Liverpool waterfront were a landscape of old-fashioned sailboats sat alongside big powerful steamships and ocean liners. But already the Ralph Brocklebank was developing a second role, occasionally carrying passengers across the river to Ellesmere Port. Following the First World War, water-going trade began to wind down, and so the Canal Company began selling off their fleet. It was the end of an era for this particular steam tug, but the start of something new. But before we look at that, I asked Bob if I could have a peek below decks and see what exactly made an Edwardian steamship tick. Down here and through this short tunnel is the boiler room, where some of the crew are hard at work getting the tug ready to stretch its legs on the river. And this is the boiler, painted red, and powered by 3 furnaces below. Containing 194 tubes, this huge boiler takes 19 tons of water. Coal is shovelled carefully into the furnaces with the aim of getting a nice even spread across the bed plates. This in turn helps the fires to burn evenly. The boiler is heated slowly to avoid damage, such as cracks, but when it reaches a pressure inside of about 120 pounds per square inch, it's enough to fire up the engine next door. Although, I've been told by the crew that this can take up to 3 days. The air for the furnaces is drawn through this tunnel, providing natural draft, and behind the walls either side of the tunnel, the coal is stored, 24 tonnes in total. The boiler itself is very similar to those used on the Titanic. There were 29 on the Titanic, 25 of which were double-ended, using up to 600 tonnes of coal in a single day. On the Calm Weaver, the Danny uses about half a tonne to travel a few miles upstream. Also in the boiler room, the original pump over on the right hand side provides water to the deck in case of fire. Over in the engine room, steam from the boiler is injected into the engine pistons from both the top and the bottom, turning the crankshafts. These are the original steam engines from 1903, built by the engineering firm John Jones and Sons. With these twin engines each turning propellers, the tug can now get underway. But surprisingly, water can be a valuable commodity on a steamboat like this, and so all of that steam is quickly cooled back down into liquid form in these green condensers, using river water, and then recycled back into the boiler. Like most boats, a steamboat like this relies on 3 main elements: the boiler, the engine, and the skipper up top driving the whole thing. This telegraph has an equivalent up top where the wheelhouse is, and when the skipper wants to change speed, it comes through down here. The engineer can then adjust these levers accordingly, changing the engine's output. Next we headed up top to see what magic happens in the wheelhouse. So this is the original 1903 wheel, complete with power steering. Still, as you can see, from here the front of the ship is not visible, so it takes a skilled skipper and a ton of experience to get the Danny safely about without collision. Bob shows me the original voice pipe, allowing communication between the skipper and the engine room. Behind that is also the other end of the telegraph. Now, in contrast to all the original features, the Danny is today fitted with a few modern requirements, including GPS, radar, and safety monitoring equipment. So let's get back to the story of the Ralph Brocklebank and that new post-war era. In 1894, the Manchester Ship Canal opened, creating a huge port 36 miles inland that served the centre of the cotton trade itself, Manchester, by bypassing the high taxes at the port of Liverpool. The man who really led the push for the creation of the ship canal was an engineer called Daniel Adamson, who sadly never lived to see it operational. However, the canal thrived, and in 1922, when the Shropshire Union was selling off its fleet, the Ship Canal Company acquired 6 of their tugs, the Ralph being one of them. Bought for £3,000, her funnel was painted in the signature 2 white stripes of the company, and she was put back to her twin duties of tugging cargo boats and ferrying passengers. From the late 1920s, the Ralph Brocklebank saw a steady number of visiting dignitaries and VIPs, including King Faisal of Iraq, King Amanullah of Afghanistan, and the Sultan of Zanzibar, all with the aim of showing off the ship canal and Manchester's inland docks. In 1936, this humble tug was chosen to be the official director's launch and completely refitted in a bold Art Deco style, in the fashion of the larger ocean-going liners. She was also renamed the Daniel Adamson, in honour of the company's champion and founder. Meanwhile, the wheelhouse was raised and she acquired a new upper deck, making her taller than all other tugs. Down in this fabulous saloon, amazingly, there are still a number of original features, including these 2 tables in the centre, complete with ashtrays, or drinks holders as the kids usually guess. In this photo taken in 1948, the Argentinian ambassador can be seen sat at this table. However, by the 1980s, after 8 decades chugging up and down the rivers and canals, the Danny found itself in a world that had dramatically changed. The Manchester Ship Canal was no longer suited to the new massive container ships and fell into decline. Similarly, most vessels are now diesel powered, meaning steamboats like the Danny were used less and less, and usually with a nod to nostalgia. In 1986, the Danny found itself laid up at the Boat Museum in Ellesmere Port, the very place she had started her working life. The Danny quickly began to degrade. Vandals had stripped her of most of her decorative things, and the saloon was particularly hit with damp and rot. In 2004, the decision was made to have the Danny scrapped, but Mersey tug skipper Dan Cross and a group of others banded together to get her saved. Eventually, Dan was able to buy the Danny for a ceremonious £1 from the Ship Canal Company. Years later, and with the help of several grants, including from the National Lottery, the Danny was restored to full working order, with the work carried out at the Camel Laird shipyard in Birkenhead, the same shipyard where the boat was originally built. Repairing that shocking interior saloon was almost as much hard work as the boiler and engines, but there was one last surprise in store for the team. While stripping away some of that veneer, the word Oceanic was found written on one of the boards. As it turns out, the company that had refitted the Danny was the same company that had been refitting the larger ocean liner, the Oceanic, over in Belfast, for the White Star Company. Financial troubles meant that a government bailout was needed, necessitating the merger of White Star and Cunard, and the cancellation of several ships. The partly built Oceanic was scrapped, its parts reused here, there and everywhere. Obviously, part of it found its way onto the Danny. A fitting link, I think, between this historic last surviving Mersey-built steamship and its larger cousins that once graced the oceans of the world. Right, so there you go, the SS Daniel Adamson. A beautiful looking, unique boat with such a rich history. So thanks very much to Bob and Dan for showing me around. Please do check out their website, by the way, www.thedanny.co.uk. All the information you need is on there. It's a beautiful day out, especially on a day like today, but just berthed here, just having a look around it here has been amazing. So they do cruises up and down the river, so imagine what that's going to be like. But yeah, do check that out. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Won't you step aboard the Danny, smell the steam and taste the spray, feel those engines beat beneath your